Hey everyone, and welcome. So, let's talk about a word we throw around constantly, the environment. We're going to dig into what it actually is, how it all works, and, this is the cool part, how it connects directly to our lives, right down to the food on our plates. Right? Let's just start there. We say things like save the environment or I need a better work environment. But what does that word even mean? What are we really trying to say? Okay, so to get a handle on this huge idea of the environment, we need to zoom in on the basic building blocks. And that, my friends, is the ecosystem. This is where all the action is. I love this definition. The best way to think about it is like a super busy neighborhood. You've got all the living things, the residents, plants, animals, you name it, and they're all interacting with each other and with the non-living stuff around them, the actual place itself, the air, the water, the soil. And that neighborhood has two main parts, which you see here. You've got the abiotic parts, which bio just means life, right? So that's all the living stuff. And then you have the abiotic parts, the non-living things, like sunshine, rain, the ground beneath. Basically, the stage where all the living drama happens. And these ecosystems are everywhere. They can be massive, like a whole forest, or tiny, like a little pond. What's really cool is that we make them too. Think about it. Your garden is an ecosystem. Even that fish tank in your living room. Yep, that's a mini, man-made ecosystem right there. All right, so if an ecosystem is this busy community, what's keeping the lights on? What's fueling everything? Where does all that energy come from? Let's trace it back to the source. Okay, check out this number. It's kind of wild when you think about it. The sun is just blasting our planet with an incredible amount of energy, right? But the green plants, the very foundation of life, only capture about 1% of it. Just one tiny percent of the sunlight that lands on them. But here's the kicker. That 1%, it's pretty much everything. That's the energy that gets turned into food. It's the spark that starts the engine for almost all life on this planet. It's a tiny number doing a massive, massive job. Okay, next important number for you. 10%. This is what's known as the 10% rule. It's super simple. Whenever something gets eaten, only about 10% of the energy from that meal gets passed on. The rest? Poof, it's gone. I mean, think about that for a second. 90% of the energy is lost every single time something is eaten. It's used up for living, moving, breathing, or it's just lost as heat. And that's exactly why food chains can't be super long. There's just not enough energy left by the time you get a few steps up. So this flow of energy, this 10% transfer, it creates these pathways. And that's what we call food chains and food webs. It all boils down to that one simple, brutal question in nature. Who eats whom? So let's look at a really simple example. You've got grass, which makes its own food from the sun. Then a goat comes along and eats the grass. That makes it the first or primary consumer. Then maybe a person eats the goat, making them the secondary consumer. See? A nice, clean, straight line. But nature is almost never that neat and tidy. In the real world, it's not a chain. It's more like a web. That goat might be eaten by something else too, and the grass is eaten by lots of different animals. All those simple chains get tangled up, creating this beautiful, complicated, messy food web. Okay, so we've got this amazing, complex system, but this is where we come in. Our activities can sneak things into this web that really shouldn't be there, and this creates a huge, kind of invisible problem, one that can end up right on our dinner plates. And that brings us to this really important idea. It's called biological magnification, and honestly, it's a bit worrying. It's what happens when nasty chemicals, things that don't break down, get into the environment. As you go up each step of the food chain, the amount of that chemical gets more and more concentrated. It literally builds up. So where do these things even come from? Well, a big one is pesticides. The stuff we spray on farms to protect the crops. It doesn't just stay on the plants. It gets washed by the rain, into the soil, into our rivers, and from there, it gets sucked up by new plants, and bam, just like that, it's in the food chain right at the very beginning. And this is where it really hits home. Look at how this works. The toxins are in the water plants. Small fish eat lots of those plants, so the poison builds up in them. Then bigger fish eat lots of small fish, and the concentration gets even higher. And since we humans are often at the very top eating those big fish, guess where the highest concentration ends up? Yeah, inside us. Now, this chemical problem is sort of invisible, right? But our impact isn't always so hidden. There's a much, much more obvious one we see every single day. Let's talk about our trash. Basically, all our garbage falls into one of two buckets. You've got biodegradable stuff, things nature knows how to deal with, like leftover food. It just rots and goes back to the earth. And then you've got the non-biodegradable stuff. Think plastic. Nature has no idea what to do with it, so it just stays there for hundreds, even thousands of years.
This quote, wow, it's so relevant, especially for us in India. I'm sure many of you have heard stories or even remember when you'd get chai on a train in a proper glass that was washed and reused. Then came the plastic and paper cups, hailed as this great hygienic invention. But did anyone stop to think about what happens when we throw away millions of these every single day?
And that's really the heart of the problem, isn't it? Our modern lifestyle is all about convenience. Everything is packaged, everything is disposable, everything is for one-time use. And the result is just mountains and mountains of garbage that our planet literally cannot break down. So when we put it all together, you see that the environment isn't some park or forest far away. It's not out there. It's right here. It's in the food that we eat. It's in the dustbin in our kitchen. It's incredibly personal. So the real question I want to leave you with is, now that you know this, what are you going to do about it? What's just one tiny choice you can make today that's a little bit different?